Hello. Ah, good to see your faces. Ah, hello.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
David.
Mm.
Mm. So Micah and I are up north a little bit where there's not great reception. And we might be a little bit slow, but we think we're going to be okay. So we've been testing it yesterday and today. Um, Shelby's online too to help us out because has a good connection. So just chat us if anything goes on, or let Shelby know too.
All right. I can't actually see anybody else. Oh, there we go. I'm not done Zoom on my phone, so I'm learning all sorts of things. I can see Alexandra and Shelby and Leah, and I bet there's a bunch of other people. Oh, there they are. Okay, this is good. We're high tech in it here up in the woods.
Did your
Okay.
phone fall off?
It almost rolled off. It didn't quite roll off. So we're going to be doing some bioenergetics today, and we're going to be working with core and ground. And so for those of you who are new to bioenergetics, it's a really lovely practice, and it's rooted in the work of Wilhelm Reich and Alexandra Lowen, and this understanding that the body, as we go through life, we start to hold these patterns of armoring. And so we describe armoring as there are the places in the body that we call dead zones. So maybe you're breathing and feeling and you realize, oh, I can't actually feel my low back, or I can't actually feel the back of my hamstrings. Those are dead zones. And there are also areas of chronic constriction. And so these are areas that are tight and they seem to be tight all the time. And so if you went to, say, a massage therapist and maybe they rubbed your shoulder, and then all of a sudden, like 2 hours later, you realize your shoulder's almost as tight as it was before you went to the massage. That's a clear sign that there's an area of chronic armoring and tension. And so it doesn't just normally tense up and relax, but it sort of holds that chronic tension. And the main point of bioenergetics is to start to open up these places of armoring. So to start to engage, stretch into, breathe, and feel the dead zones and the chronic constriction in our body. And the theory of how this all formed was that, in childhood, we didn't have a fully formed nervous system. And we also are vulnerable as children. And so as we go through life, we have these experiences where we go into overwhelm, we go into shock, we can't handle it. And so the process of not being able to handle it as a kid is that we start to really take that overwhelming experience and try to turn the volume down. So we might look away, we might numb out, we might constrict the body so we don't have to feel. But the two main components is that as children, when we have these overwhelming experiences, one, we stop the breathing, which also creates us to not feel. So we're not feeling and we're not breathing. And so bioenergetics it's a simple practice. It's a profound practice, and it can be a bit intense because the nature of what we're doing is going back into these places of armoring and breathing and feeling again. And so often people will describe, as we open up these places, it's like there was no sensation, then all of a sudden there's a bunch of sensation. And if we haven't done this before, we can start to feel like, oh my gosh, what's happening? This feels worse. But it's actually the nature of the work is to open up, to breathe into these places of constriction so that we get more flexibility and freedom, not just in our physical body, but also in our mind. Okay. So there are three basic rules to bioenergetics as we get into the practice today. One is keep breathing. Okay. So no matter what, you're going to keep that breath moving. The breath is going to be open mouth like this. And it's not required that you breathe as intensely or create a really large charge unless you want to. Okay, so just a big deep full breath into the belly and into the heart space is enough. Just keep the breath moving. It's really common as we start to go, especially as we get into areas that we haven't had access to, that we'll find ourselves just continually stopping the breath. And so that's just a clue. I'll keep cueing you. Go back to the breath, find the breath. The other thing is to just keep feeling. So today we're going to be working with the belly and we're going to be working with core. And so, especially with the belly, as you find a point in the belly to breathe into, it's really easy for your mind to start to leave and to start to head up into some other area, to get distracted, to zone out. And so, really coming back, and you might have to redirect yourself back to just feeling a point in your belly, a point in your pelvic floor over and over again, but keep doing that. And the third part of bioenergetics is to don't quit, keep going. And so while it is an intense practice, a lot of times the voice in our head that says, you can't do this, this is too hard, you might as well quit, why did you sign up for this anyway? Those are often voices that informed us of what to do when we were younger. They were younger voices for us. And so oftentimes when we quit something, whether it's bioenergetics or quit something in life, it isn't because we've actually physically hit the edge that we can't handle anymore. It's because there's this voice in our head that says, this is too hard, this is too difficult. So one of the beautiful things with bioenergetics is we take ourselves to the edge, which means everyone has a different edge. Everyone has a different place that they're able to go physically, mentally, and emotionally. And it's okay wherever that spot is, but find your edge and stick there. Okay. And if for those of you who are finding like this is feeling good, but I know I can go a little bit deeper, my encouragement is to increase the breath a little bit more. So if you want more from this practice, if you're like, I want to go deeper, I want to feel even more deeply in my body, then you can bring the breath into a deeper way. So this particular one is a really nice one to pay attention to what your internal dialogue is. So, of course, we're trying to breathe and feel and not listen so much to what our head's saying, but inevitably our mind's going to sort of kick in and start to tell us things. And so my encouragement today is to just be in that inner witness role. Just tune in. What is that voice saying? And where's that voice coming from? And how long have I heard a voice that sounds like that? So it can give us all sorts of clues as to limiting beliefs, as to the inner critic, as to our coping mechanisms when things get difficult and we don't want to feel them anymore. So your encouragement as we do this practice is to be your own inner authority. So find your edge, be your own inner authority. If that voice says you can't do it, keep going. And if you really find that this is just too much, it's at your edge, then take a break. Take a 10-second break or a 30-second break. Give yourself a little shake and then go right back into the posture and keep going. Okay. So I wanted to talk for just a couple minutes about core and about ground. So these are some of the principles that I like to teach people right off the bat as we're doing work, because developing our connection to our core is really developing the connection to a deeper sense of who we are. And so if you can just take a second and kind of sit back and have you kind of tune into your core. So just pause and take a breath and feel. And the core really runs from the top of your head through your whole body and then down through your tailbone and down into the earth. And I like to experience it as almost leaning back into my spine a little bit. And then breathing right through the entire body. You could imagine that the breath's coming in through your head, and then you're breathing in into your belly and down into your feet. Or you could imagine the breath's coming up through the earth into your belly, and you're breathing it up through your head. Whatever feels good to you, just take 60 seconds here to really find that channel of your core. And as you find your core, maybe just letting go of whatever happened before you got here into this moment. And then also letting go of what might come later, just being here with your breath, feeling your breath in your belly through that entire core of your body. And the center of your core is located around your navel. So this is your dantian, this is your hara. In a lot of spiritual traditions, this is the center of our soul. So really breathe down into your belly, that fire in your belly, around your navel, maybe just below your navel. Really let yourself feel the belly, the rib cage, there's restriction or tightness there, it's fine, just notice it. Go ahead and plant your feet firmly on the ground and really feel the earth underneath you. Start to imagine that through the bottom of your feet, there are roots that go down. First, just down a couple inches and then down a couple feet. And then visualizing those roots going all the way down to the center of the earth. Feeling how you can just rest into the earth, how the earth is much larger than you are. You let yourself settle. Feel the connection between your legs and the earth. And just feeling the connection between the earth and the groundedness in your legs. Feeling that energy start to creep all the way up into your pelvic floor to fill your belly. And you can feel the core of your body, that channel of energy running through your body, starting to connect all the way through your legs back into the earth. Really starting to feel the part of your body that we're going to work with tonight. We're going to work with it by breathing and feeling. This practice tonight is less of the intensity that maybe some of you experience with bioenergetics, and it's really one where just feeling your body is enough. Just breathing and feeling. There's not a ton of exertion. There's not a high charge in this particular practice. But we're going to go through each of the postures, and I want to walk you through them now so that when we get to them, I can give you sort of less direction. And so you all can stand up, and we're going to start with the bow posture. So a lot of you have done this, but we'll walk through all of them. You can see Leah behind me. So the bow posture, the hands are reaching up and back, and you can see how Leah's spine is bending. We're trying to bend the spine into like a bow and arrow. So the feet are firmly rooted, and then there's a reaching up and back and really paying attention to the breath coming into the belly in this posture. So we're going to do that, and from there, we're going to move down to the arch posture. And in this one, you're going to check with your shoulders and your neck. Those should be loose. And you're going to straighten the legs almost to the point of locking your knees, but just a little bit less. The legs are very straight. You're going to lean forward just a little bit onto your toes. So those are the three areas we check with arch. It's the shoulders and neck, the straight legs, and then leaning forward and also feeling that tailbone pull up to the sky. So in this workout, we're going to go through both of these, through the bow twice and the arch twice. And then we're actually going to move to the lower legs. So you can come back up out of arch. And there are 6 postures we're going to do with the feet. So the first one is walking on the tiptoes. And as you walk, you're going to really push up as much as you can until the dinger goes off. We may actually probably about halfway through, I'm going to have you find a place to hold on to, a chair or a wall, and just stand still in the posture and really go deeper into it. Okay, from there, we're going to move into the second leg posture where the toes come up and you're walking on your heels. Walking around on your heels, forward, backwards, feeling it not just in the ankles and the feet, but also starting to feel it into the legs. Good? From there, we're going to walk on the sides of the feet. Okay, so you can see Leah there. Oops, you're going to see Leah there, and her feet are sort of like this. You're walking on the sides of the feet. I think it's pretty good. I think they can see you. Good. So we're going to do that one, and then we're going to walk on the insides of the feet. And this one, you can really start to feel that root chakra light up. So our connection from the core down into the earth. So feeling that energy there. From there, we're going to go to heels together. So we're kicking the feet out like a penguin. Good. And the last leg posture, we're going to go to toes together there. Good. Beautiful. So moving from there, we're going to move into the belly and the pelvic floor a little bit. And so in this posture, you're standing legs apart, and you can see that stance is pretty far, and the butt starts to sink down, and the hands are open. One of the beautiful things about developing our core and our groundedness is that our upper body doesn't have to work as hard. And so we take a little bit more on in the lower half of the body, and the upper body can start to relax. So really feel that. And in this posture, you can move your pelvic floor forward, and move it backwards all the way. Now find neutral right in the middle. That's where you want to have your pelvis. And in this posture, we're really paying attention to just breathing and feeling the belly. So that's all you're going to do is stay here and keep breathing big belly breaths into the belly with the mouth open and feeling. We're going to do this for a bit. This is the one where you're going to start to notice your mind's drifting. This is the one where you're going to need to keep coming back and finding a point in your belly to connect to. You're going to hear a ding, and you're going to stay in this exact same posture. And the only thing that's going to change is we're going to add in some humming. And you're going to hum, and you're going to make the lowest possible noise that your body can make. And so we really want to feel it in the belly, feel it in the heart. See if you can feel the humming move through your entire core. So doing this so much that by the end, hopefully it starts to feel like you're not even the one humming, that humming is just sort of happening. It's just flowing through your body. Good. So as we wind down from there, we're going to move down to the floor. So you can go ahead and try this because I want everyone to feel it so I don't have to give so many cues when we actually get into the practice. So find a comfy spot on the floor. And you're going to put your feet together and then pull them close to your butt. So you don't want them way out, you want them kind of pulled in toward you. And then you're going to lift your tailbone up off of the mat, about an inch off of the mat. Yeah, the flats of your feet are together. Your feet are together, you're just coming up the ground. And same thing in this posture, breathing into the belly, the pelvic floor. And in this posture, you may start to feel some shaking and tremoring. And if that happens, that's great because that's the way that the nervous system starts to reset. It starts to work with stuck energies within the body that need to clear. So if the tremoring starts, that's really wonderful. Just keep breathing and feeling. So we're going to be here until the ding. And the last posture we're going to do is your feet are going to go flat on the mat. Yeah, your pelvis is going to come down. Your feet are going to go flat on the mat. And you're going to pull the heels again close back towards your rear end. You're going to put your feet close together so they're almost touching. And now you're just going to start to open the knees a little bit. And you're going to try to find that spot where tremoring wants to take over. So you may not feel that urge right now, but hopefully after some of these exercises, your body's going to feel like it wants to tremor. If it doesn't tremor, that's fine. Just go into this stretch and hold the stretch. But if tremoring starts to occur, then really let that happen. Okay. So that is our practice today. So if you guys want to stand up, we're going to start again with bow and arch. I'm hoping that I can run my dinger on here. I didn't think about it. It'll be a little complicated for me to do that. Let me just see because it's all set up. Everyone's still there. Okay, good. No, I haven't hit start. Everyone just take a second, connect one more time in with your breath and your body. Just take 30 seconds to feel where you're starting from. It may feel comforting to put a hand on your heart or your belly. Just really honoring the choice you made to be here tonight. And we don't have any music, so we're going to be listening to nature sounds tonight. And here we go to the bow and to the arch. Starting with the bow, really reaching your hands up and back, feeling your feet planted firmly on the ground. Really letting your breath, open mouth breath, letting that be the soundtrack for tonight. Just the sound of your breath. Keep feeling, just keep reaching up. Start to slowly come down to the arch posture. Leaning forward. This is a posture of just surrendering, letting the neck and the shoulders relax. Pulling the tailbone up, leaning forward just a bit on the toes. And once you get there, make sure that mouth is still open and you're really breathing and feeling down into your belly. Nothing you need to do right now, so just keep connecting to your body and your breath, letting your mind just relax. Finding your way back up to bow again. Feeling those feet firmly rooted on the earth and then reaching up to the heavens. And filling that space around your navel with breath. Starting to feel that pelvic floor push out a little bit further into the world. Maybe you can breathe some breath underneath your rib cage, just opening up the front of your abdomen. Finding your edge, finding that spot that feels like it's pushing you, but it's not too much. If it's too much and you lose connection to your breath, back off just a little bit. The whole point is to keep feeling and breathing. Stick with the intensity. Keep feeling it. It's okay. And coming back down for the arch posture. It's really feeling the surrender in this one. The legs are straight, especially on each exhale. Just let go a little bit more. Can you go a little bit more deeply into yourself, into the earth? And make your way back up. And going ahead and give yourself a little shake. And then we're going to go into that wide leg posture. So the legs go quite wide. And we start to drop. Bend the knees, dropping the butt down closer to the earth. And feeling that space of the tailbone and feeling the charge, the connection between the tailbone and the earth. And just start to bring the breath into the belly. The whole point of this posture is to feel that groundedness and that connection, but also to feel a connection to the belly. The belly can be a spot where we dump and repress all sorts of emotions, all sorts of things that we didn't want to feel. And so it can be sort of an intense place just to feel into. So honoring that, if it feels kind of murky in there, just keep breathing and feeling. We're clearing new spaces for you. Just keep staying with it. I'm going to stay there for one more ding. Keep that breath moving. Really feel. Now we're just going to add in the hum. So you're staying in the same posture, but you're going to add in the deepest, lowest noise that you can make, really feeling that hum move through your whole body. Mm. 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 Keep that hum going. See if you can feel it move through your entire body. Mm. 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 Good. We're going to stay for one more beep. So keep staying in this posture. Keep humming. Really feeling your legs all the way to your belly. Good. And from here, we're going to go back and start to work with the legs again. So you're going to walk on your tiptoes. So walking around and just going as high up as you possibly can on your tiptoes. And remember to keep that mouth open, keep breathing, feeling down into the legs. And then go ahead and find a place to lean up against a chair or something, and you're just going to stretch as far up as you can go. Keep breathing, keep feeling. It's okay if it's intense. You're starting to make this body of yours a hospitable place to be in, to live in. Good, and then go ahead and shake those legs out. Just give them a little shake. And we're going into the second posture, walking on the heels, pointing the toes up to the sky. This can be one of the more intense postures for the legs. Just keep breathing and feeling. Really notice if your mind's drifting and just bring it back to sensation, bring it back to anchoring to a place in your legs or in your body. Keep feeling, keep breathing. And go ahead and find a spot to lean up against, to stand next to, and just go even deeper into the stretch. And go ahead and shake out your legs again. Now moving to the posture, walking on the sides of the feet. So it's the pinky toe side. So it's as if you're rolling your ankles out to the side. And walking around forward and backward, really feeling not just your ankles and feet, but your glutes, the sides of your legs, feeling the entire lower half of your body. Mouth still open. Make sure there's a big river of breath. You haven't started to close your jaw. And really breathe down to the lower half of your body. And go ahead and find a spot to lean up against. And really using the friction of the floor to push those feet even further to the edges. Feeling it in your legs, keeping the breath moving. Good, and give yourself a shake again. Shake your legs out. You're doing great. Now we're moving on to the one where you're walking in the inside arches of the foot. And really starting to feel maybe the knees come together on this one. This is a good one to feel that root chakra, to feel that connection back to the earth, that channel of energy moving from the tailbone down to the earth. See if you can feel that as you walk through this one. Curling up those pinky toes up to the sky. Keep that mouth open and the breath moving. Just keep feeling. If you're breathing and feeling, you're doing great. And again, finding a spot to lean up against to deepen the stretch. Don't be afraid of your edge. If it's intense, it's okay. You're really opening things up, creating more space for yourself. Great, and give your legs a shake again. Just shake them out. Got 2 more leg postures here, and we're gonna move to heels together. So your heels are coming together and you're walking around. You can even play around with, walking forward, walking backward, maybe walking side to side. You're gonna notice there are easier places and easier ways for your body to move in harder ways, and try not to avoid the directions that feel uncomfortable. We grow because we choose to step into areas of being or experiencing life that maybe aren't so comfortable. But that's how we grow. That's how we get stronger. That's how we become more flexible, more capable. Really putting those heels together, feeling your legs. And then go ahead and find a spot to lean up against. And just deepen that stretch. Again, really see how open you can get the inner thighs. Can you still maintain the connection to your belly? Can you still maintain connection to the earth even when it gets intense? Good. Have another shake of your legs. Shake them out. We're going into the last leg posture, pulling those big toes in together. This one you really can feel a lot of activation in the thighs often, the IT band. And playing around with forward, backward, side to side. Being curious. What do my legs feel like? What happens when I do this or I do that? Or maybe make a little micro adjustment. How does that affect sensation? And go ahead and find something to hold on to and just deepen the stretch. Check with your mouth. Is it open still? Is the jaw relaxed? Is there still breath freely coming and going? And have a shake. Shake your legs out, and we're gonna move from here down back to the mat. So in this posture, feet are together, and you're gonna pull them back so they're near your body. And then you're just going to pick your pelvic floor, your tailbone up off of the mat about an inch. There's no need to go really high, just a little bit off of the mat. And really opening those knees as far as it feels comfortable for you, wherever your edge is. And really feeling this part of your body and engaging that big deep breath into the belly, into the pelvic floor. Maybe you can feel it all the way into your legs. Just you can even check with your hand and make sure you're not much higher than an inch. Really keeping it close to the ground. It's a lot of subtlety in this movement. It's a lot of feeling and observing. And if your legs start to tremor, that's great. Just let that happen. See if you can get your mind out of the way and let your body just take over. Stay with your body. Keep coming back to your breath. Stick with it. You're doing great. You're almost there. And you can go ahead and slowly lower your tailbone back onto the mat. And now you're going to bring your feet so they're flat on the ground. And you're going to pull those heels so they're kind of coming back towards your body again. And from this place, you're just going to let the knees start to open. And as the knees slowly open, you're going to keep going until you find that spot where it might feel like a little bit of tremoring wants to kick in. If you're doing that and there's no tremoring that happens, that's fine. Just find a nice stretch in there. And keep the breath moving down into your pelvic floor and into your legs. For those of you who can feel that maybe your body wants to do some tremoring and releasing, just see if you can find that spot where it wants to take over, where you can get out of the way. Just keep breathing and feeling. We're going to be here for a bit, so get comfortable. Feel your whole body sink into the ground. You might even feel that if you breathe down into your pelvic floor, you can start to breathe in places you normally can't feel the breath, or maybe stretch into some muscles or constriction or tightness down there. Just kind of using the breath almost like you're massaging the inside of your belly or the inside of your pelvic floor. Don't be afraid to really breathe down there, to really feel. It's not uncommon to have emotions come up. that happens, just let yourself feel the emotion. And go ahead and just extend your legs all the way out so you're just laying flat on your back. We're just going to take a few minutes just to observe, sort of getting in that role of inner witness and watching, observing what's happening, what's unfolding, just resting. Just allowing whatever is there to be felt, to be experienced. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Really slowly starting to bring some movement back into the body, maybe the fingers, the toes, rolling side to side, just stretching however your body wants to. Just really noticing how you feel now compared to when we first started, when you checked in with yourself. Just noticing what's similar, what's different. Just taking your time, but just slowly starting to find your way back to upright, to the seated position, to start to move back towards your screen. And just check in one last time with that space in your belly, feeling the core of yourself, feeling how that extends down into your legs and the earth. Just one more check in to see what's shifted. And as you step forward into the rest of your evening, you start to move towards your weekend, keeping this awareness of your connection to your core, to your belly, the deepest part of yourself. Seeing if you can live a little bit more from that place, a little bit more connected to this earth that gives us life, takes care of us. Slowly start to open your eyes. Thank you guys for practicing with us. Hopefully, you feel a little bit more like yourself. And anybody has anything they want to ask or share, love to hear just what that felt like for you. Anything came up, you You can just unmute yourself. I'm using my phone and I don't totally know how to use Zoom on it, so just unmute yourself and start talking.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. And I do both so much. I love you guys.
Where's
Practice with you.
Mm.
I can't tell who that was. Oh, that was Kurt. Yay.
Hey, Micah, I have a
Mm-hmm.
question. When you're doing the one where you're keeping your feet like flat on the floor and then you're trying to open your legs,
Mhm.
like your feet have a tendency of wanting to lift, but you want to keep that pressing them down more, right?
Usually it's okay if they start to lift up a little bit. You just don't want them to roll all the way open. So as long as you
Okay.
you can keep them relatively flat. If they come up a little bit, that's fine. They don't have to be pressed down really hard or anything like that. So they can lightly start to come up. But yeah, you're generally keeping them fairly flat on the ground.
And then the small of your back, do you want that pressing into the ground or do you want to keep that natural arch?
That's a great question. I would play around with it. So there's a lot of
Okay.
time you can get into the posture and then start to check in with like, oh, if I do a little micro adjustment here, or if I bend this a little bit more there, and sometimes you'll start to feel like more engagement of those places of armoring, or you'll start to
Okay.
see like when you shift that the tremoring increases. And that's usually what I follow is like if you stick with the posture and then you can make subtle adjustments in there that are best for you.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
This is Stephanie. So when we do the resting at the very end, are we continuing to do the breath work?
At the very end, you're kind of going into like a shavasana type of situation where you're just really settling at the end. So it kind of depends. I mean, a lot of times when we get into the tremoring part of bioenergetics, I usually have people intentionally tremor for 5 to 7 to 10 minutes. But a lot of times, tremoring can be great if you get into a session where you're tremoring and then it feels good and you have the time to tremor for 20, 30 minutes is completely okay. So it just kind of depends on what you're going for. If you want to keep the tremoring going, then you can keep breathing and you'll tend to keep the charge up and keep tremoring. If you want to start to settle into shavasana and just rest, yeah, that's your own choice.
Thanks. Been no
Yeah.
conscious breathing.
Some of you guys, I don't know if anyone's familiar with TRE, but TRE is kind of a branch off of bioenergetics. It's trauma release exercises. And the whole point of TRE is to get the body to a state where the tremoring just takes over. So it's pretty common in that practice where you'll tremor for 20, 30, 40 minutes. And that's a big chunk of the practice is just getting to the body to that state where the nervous system takes over and the tremoring starts to happen. And it's really, really quite useful and quite settling to do that. Cool. Anybody else? Okay, Lee wants to say something.
I had a quick question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Sure. Can you say who you are? We can't for
Yeah,
whatever.
it's Emily Vandermolen. I had to hop on my phone. So I have a question about the tremoring. I kept feeling like it would kick in and I felt my body fighting it. Do you have any tips for how to stick with it?
Generally when that happens, there's a sense where the mind or the body's starting to kick in and go like, oh, we don't like that. We're used to
Yeah.
sort of controlling that or locking that down. So if you do some wall sits beforehand, that will
Okay.
really so there is a point, right, where if you wear the muscle and tire the muscle out enough that
Uh-huh.
pretty hard to stop. I've also encouraged people who that's you can be harder with, especially when you haven't done a lot of tremoring. It takes a minute, right? It's like your body has to learn, like, oh, this is okay, I can let go.
Yeah.
So if you're new to this, then I'd say just stick with it, and your body will eventually figure it out. But if you want to go a little more intensely, you can do like some wall sits. And once you get into that place where, like, PE class, like my freaking legs are burning, you don't
Yeah.
have to stay there that whole time. You can start to come up the wall a little bit,
Okay.
and even come up the wall and go on your tiptoes, and that will really activate the tremoring. So if you do that for 5-10 minutes and then get down to the ground and take that posture with the knees together and open them, then it's much easier to go. Yeah. And if that
Okay.
doesn't work, I encourage like a glass of wine or just a little bit of weed.
Okay.
It starts to take off that part of us that wants to like control it. It's just like, okay, like I'm
Yeah.
just letting go. I'm just letting my body take over.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions? All right. I haven't shared this much or shared it much with the classes. We haven't put it out there too much, but we are going to do an in-person retreat for one day, October 9th. Can you hear me? October 9th, we're going to do an in-person retreat. We've dropped so many cameras today, or I have. And it's going to be a one day. It's going to be a breathwork retreat. We'll be doing some bioenergetics combined with breathwork. It's going to be at Micah's place in Lowell, a lot of outdoor space, big area. And so I'll put the information's for that is in the back end of your portal over on the left-hand side. And the other thing is our Vitalist school that starts in a couple of weeks. We just had an opening. So you want to talk about that a little bit? Or?
Yeah, if you go to the type in Vitalist School of Psycho-Spiritual Transformation, it'll pull up the website for the actual school. And so it's a 9-month program. It's primarily geared for practitioners, but really anybody who wants to do a deep dive into this type of embodied somatic work. And so we got one opening. It starts really soon, but shoot either Lee or myself an email, and we can send you application and get you in over the next 10 days.
We have a few people interested, but this group might be a fit. So thought I'd mention it. All right.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Take care, everybody.
Yes.
It's great practicing with you.
Thank you. I swallowed 2 bugs for that.
See you guys.